Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Performance Cafe. And today we are visiting with Margriet Maton from the Being Human group. I'm very pleased. Margriet and I have been trying to do this for the longest time, and I'm so pleased that we can spend this time with her in order to get to know a little bit more about Being Human group and her take on performance. Margriet is actually the other half of the dynamic duo that got me through my Global Gallup coaching certification. And it was absolutely lovely to spend the time with her and Yendo. And of course, to be certified by the only company in Africa, as far as I understand, that is a Global Gallup training institution. And on that note, hi Margriet, how are you?
Hi, Innocent. I'm doing really well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you about strengths and be part of the Performance Cafe.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Margriet, I'm very excited because I do love the fact that every time I ask the following question, I get a different answer. Because as you know, everyone is different. But what in your mind is performance?
Innocent, for me, it's very easy. Performance is doing better. It's all about being the best that you can be, and applying your strengths in different areas where you want to do better.
Do you think COVID has changed how we see performance?
Yes, I think so. I must tell you, I'm not an expert on performance. So, for your listeners who are, this is a very novice view of how it has changed. What we're hearing from the field is that the way performance is measured has changed. Okay, so performance can't be measured on an annual basis anymore. Performance should actually be measured on a week by week basis, and that is through managers checking in with their employees, with their team members, finding out not only how's work, but also how are you. So performance is what we've seen is no longer about just hitting the numbers and ticking the boxes. It's also about that you are well as a being.
Yes.
The holistic view of looking at performance and people's well-being, actually listening to one another, will increase performance, believe it or not.
If we're taking a look at performance and it's changed to this frequent measurement, does it mean that we've also seen a shift in what success means for people and for companies?
Is Innocent. I think what we've seen and what we're hearing from managers, great managers, is that just answering emails doesn't cut it anymore. You have to check in with with people. You have to have conversations, one-on-one conversations, and you have to listen to them. What are their needs? How do they see success? What does success mean for them, especially people working from home that's been taken out of the office and are losing that office feeling of driving to success, hitting the bottom line of the company, making more money. Yes, obviously that hasn't changed, but I think there's a movement to individualism, if I can call it that, to see what does success mean for each individual, working with them to help them feel that they are successful, and in that way, each person will then contribute to the overall success of the company.
Okay, wonderful. But now I have to ask the question that I'm sure all managers ask you. Do I have the time to actually get that individual perspective? When am I supposed to get the time, and how am I supposed to maintain my work and all of these relationships? What do you say to them?
Innocent, what I'm seeing, and this is actually what I've been hearing for a couple of years now, is that it's exactly that. Managers say that they don't have time. My question to them, and it's interesting, if you start to talk about strengths, you'll see that most managers, for some reason, have got responsibility in their top 5, maybe their top 10. So they struggle to let go. They struggle to delegate. And the managers that I work with, who tells me, Margriet, I don't have time. When we go into their job, what they are doing on a weekly and a daily basis, then we see that a lot of what they are doing can be delegated. They don't want to let go because they think no one can do a better job than what I can do. So we work a lot on the concept of accountability and responsibility. You are accountable for the results of your department, but do you need to take responsibility for that? No, your employees need to take responsibility for each of their for their part. We also see that a lot of the managers are not really good planners. Maybe let me put it in another way. The managers that plan well are the managers who manages more effectively, and they realize that they need to manage through their people, get the job done through their people. And those are the managers that then have the time to check in on a one-on-one basis, maybe just half an hour, maybe just 15 minutes, maybe it's just a phone call, but they plan that, put that in their diaries, and again, they manage effectively through their people.
Okay, wonderful. And do all the people need all the same stuff? So if I have a team, and you know me, I'm chatty and I love a good cup of coffee. If I was to pull them all together every morning for a cup of coffee, would everyone enjoy that time and build the relationships? What do I do in that situation?
Innocent, you can see me smiling because that's certainly not the case. Not everyone will enjoy it. So in the Clifton Strengths world, you've got your people with executing themes. Those are the guys that they want to get things going. They want to hit the ground running when they get to work. Then you've got the people with relationship building strength. And those people are more likely to enjoy the coffee and the check-in and the relationship building and talking about their dogs and their kids and so forth. So no, everyone will not enjoy it. And I think for that reason, it is very important to check in with your employees on an individual basis. Find out, what do they want? What do they need from you? You will find that some people say, I need to build a relationship with you. I want you to know what's going on in my life. Other people will answer that question and say, you know what, I need you when I need you. No need to check in with me on a daily basis. Let's just go over the numbers once a week. And that's fine. And I think the answer lies in that is you're not a mind reader. Don't make assumptions. Find out from your employees, what do they need to be successful.
Wonderful. So Margriet, what I hear you saying is that then we should manage based on intrinsic motivation. It doesn't really then matter how big the salary, how big the car, whatever the case may be. We should be motivating each person based on who they are. Am I correct?
Yes, Innocent. That would be my first answer. But I think the picture is bigger than that. I think there's a larger context where salary does make a difference. If people can't put food on the table, then that'll have an impact on the way that they perform. So again, it needs to be an individual conversation around intrinsic motivation and extrinsic.
When we talk about what it takes to run a business and to have like a high performing team, what's the learnings that you've had from strengths about how do I use strengths to put together such a team?
The lessons that we've learned, Innocent, number one is that you can't recruit using strengths, not at all. You can't say, oh, I want someone who is great with administration. Let me search for someone who has got the strength of discipline. People are very unique. They the chances that anyone else has the same top 5 as you is 1 out of 33 million. So you can't recruit using strengths. That's the first lesson. The second lesson is to look what have we got as a team in terms of strengths, and then to use that. Help each person in the team to understand their strengths and see how they can contribute using these strengths. In other words, how to get the best out of me as an employee and part of this team. The third lesson is that no man is an island. We are better together. If you start to leverage of the strengths of your team members, then immediately the collective power of the strengths makes the team high performing. I can give you a great example. So the strength of strategic, which is I can see options, is sitting for me at the very bottom of my strengths list. It sits at number 34. So I struggle to see options. So when I hit the dead end, I start to panic, and then it's just downhill from there. My colleague, Yendor, has strategic in his top 5. So what I've learned to do is to check in with him. When I start to feel panic, I check in with him, I give him the context, and I say to him, Yendor, what are the options that you see? We talk through the options, and I have a way forward. Now, there's a number of things that happens. Because we are doing this, I save time, so I don't fret hours and hours over what could be the answer or the next step. He feels validated because I check in with his strengths. Now he's got the opportunity to use his strengths. And in that way, we help one another. And we just work better together.
I love that example, and it's so interesting. You would probably know that competition is number 30 for me. So I not only don't I have the strength of competition, but unfortunately I don't even value it. And one of the best things for me was when I realized that somewhere in the world there's someone who wants to compete, and I can give them those kinds of jobs, and they love it. I'm not giving it to them because it's not good enough for me. I'm giving it to them because they're excellent at it. And that is really an awesome thing.
I think you're touching on something very important there. It's the excellence. The excellence is what really makes a difference. Can you imagine each member in the team getting to do what they do best, getting to live out excellence, seeing excellence, and being celebrated because they are excellent at what they do?
It's amazing. And then on top of that, what is the impact on someone's life? And I know Gallup has some research on this. What's the impact on someone's life when they are in a strengths-based team, or they're being developed in a strengths-based way?
So they are 6 times more engaged at work. In other words, they wake up in the morning, they are excited to go to work. It's a positive environment, and they bring themselves. They bring innovation. They bring new ideas. They bring more than someone that is just not engaged. They do more. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is they are motivated. And that's the motivation is internally, where they strengths motivate you to do something in a certain way, to think in a certain way, and to feel in a certain way. And if those buttons get hit every single day, I mean, it just fires positivity, it fires the neurons to get you excited, and adrenaline is flowing. So I think that's definitely what happens.
We have so often, and I'm also being a consultant, we so often walk into a room where a team or a business is really sapped of energy. Are we saying that with an appropriately planned process, we could actually harness intrinsic motivation using strengths in order to create engagement?
Yes. The short answer is yes. Bearing in mind that each team has a context, each team has history, and it's not just as easy as walking in, snapping your fingers, and waving your magic wand, and the next day people wake up and they're excited. It depends on where that team finds themselves at that particular moment. It could be a longer process, or it could simply mean that they need to do a one-day workshop. In our experience, 6 months is the minimum if you want to change how a team functions. And I'm specifically talking about dysfunctional teams. So at least 6 months. Does that mean that you have to get in a consultant every week? No, that is not what it means. But it does mean that you need to work with a consultant that can build out a plan for you with some self-study, great conversations on a weekly basis, some ideas on how to manage employees on an individual basis, etc. And that small building blocks will in the end provide a great return on investment.